Hey guys, good morning. It's 8:53 a.m. Jobs report out. Nothing really rattled the market. It was pretty much in line with expectations. And as I mentioned in my video last night, it's really hard for me to discern where the market's headed from this present spot that it's at right now. The QQQ already hit our descending kind of trend line channel that we drew from quite a bit ago on the I think we did a 2-year on that, so we can easily get above that. But as far as the extension of this wave 5, why does it keep doing that? It looks like that it's probably going to be, if we have 2 days up here, I would say, meaning today and tomorrow, you might get a little bit of a pullback late tomorrow and or on Tuesday. I believe the market's closed on Monday for Memorial Day. I just did this transitionary channel based on some directional changes that were retested and then shot back up. They also seem to equate to this area of a lot of static down here, retest on that channel before we shot to the upside. So they are important directional changes. I take out all the noise here. The parallel line up here lines up with right where we're at now presently. We just snuck up above it. And if you look on a Heikin-Ashi candle, we've shown this before, we are on wave 5 now. And we're probably looking for another 2 days of movement. I don't know how much higher we can get above this line here. Maybe towards the top of this prior candle from back in February, which is around the 233 area. A lot of retail investors pushing up these stocks. Facebook hitting all-time highs, which is shocking to me, but I know they've come out with some new programs that kind of align with the current economy, so they're actually being smart and nimble. But looking for a channel top on Facebook, at least an area where we expect this to slow down, probably somewhere in the 234, 235 area. It'd be interesting to replicate this chart intraday and kind of see where this is headed to. Today's candle would put it right around 234 and change. I might take a little short position there, or depending on how we set up, I could go long with that as a target. But 234.50 area, 235 looks to be an interesting area of potential rejection or slowing down at least. Crude hit one of my spots this morning, and I took a position in SCO, very small position. I've been adjusting. I used a 100-day moving average, and obviously we have 2 lines here. One is one that I expect to be back tested, which would be the 32 area, and we're at 34 and change. Very strong move though. We literally just touched, spot on. Look at that, on the 100-day moving average. I believe that's what I have here. Yep, 100-day moving. And quite the move from the bottom. We've seen a massive move from the bottom, so I'm still trying to catch some type of a pullback. It could be sharp when it comes, but for now, oil is definitely on an uptrend. We're just getting a little bit into the RSI peak area there as well, and we're also getting into an interesting prior candle in here. So if we look at this little congestion area in here, it would seem that, where is this? Right in here. It would seem that the highest close we had was right around 34.85, which is where we kind of hit in pre-market, right around that area. This candle top is also 34.88. So the 34.80 area seems to be most likely a big area of resistance if we're going to play a short. Doesn't mean we can't push through there. We had a high candle on this prior area in March that was 36, but obviously it couldn't hold it and close at the end of the day. So a lot of downward energy within this time, within this price point. So 34.88 was an interesting spot where I took a small position in SCO just to feel it out. And then intraday I'll go larger with stops if I feel that the shapes are changing. What was our stock? NDMA, I believe it was. Looks like it might try to bounce somewhere in here. NNDM. I took a little bit in pre-market at 268. Where is it at now? 281. I still think resistance is around $3.30, but we'll see how this plays out. It just looks like it's trying to bounce in here. Not a huge amount of volume from what I see, but From the news on the secondary. Usually that takes a day or so to settle in. Trying to find some type of a base on this, but not expecting a big move to the upside by any means. But we are holding a little bit of an interesting area here in pre-market around 265, which kind of aligned with a prior candle on the sell-off, which we look at the 1 year daily, see if we can kind of zoom in on this crazy looking chart. Actually, let's use a 5-day, and you can kind of see when we look back at the pre-market action in here, it was a little bit of indecision, and the indecision seemed to correct itself once we got above 268, right? So you saw this little move, rejection, kind of pull back. This downward candle here, which the top of that was around 265, and then once it back tested and then went up against it, then it took off to the upside. So I kind of think that 268, 265 area was interesting, so I took a little position, not expecting anything fantastic out of that. Zoom, incredibly, continues to grind higher. This looks like an interesting short at some point, but it continues to roll with probably retail investors piling on board. XLF, I want to look at the financials today, see if XLF can close above 22.15. This area looks a little bit weak here still, and I'm wondering if the market just is dragging this up with it. If we look at some prior candles on this as well, you can see that, let's load the daily study. You can see that it seems to have trouble right along this top line in here, where we had a touch here, a touch here. The high was around 22.33 in this candle. The high in this candle was around 22.36. So this 22.30 area seems to be a tough time for this to get over. High is 22.20 yesterday, so a close above 22.20, 22.30 would be interesting on XLF. If it can't get above there soon, I have a feeling it might be a little bit of a precursor to some market weakness. We want to see this participate if this is really a new bull trend. We don't have to have it rocket to the upside, as long as it doesn't crash to the downside, obviously, but it's in a very narrow area between 21.50, I'd say, and that 22.30 area. So if we break to either side of that, it might give us a little bit of an idea of where the market's headed. So that's that for now. Apple looks extended here. I might probe shorts intraday in that as well. I don't know, it just acts weird during the day. It's hard to explain. It's been strong, but keep an eye on Apple. And then TVIX was trying to hold like a 5-day base. Obviously, they were hedging it ahead of the jobs report. And no dice. They tried to fire it up, and they couldn't get it anywhere. But interesting thing is that it's kind of put in this floor around like 148, 149 if we look at a 20-minute chart. And this is the kind of thing you have to be nimble with. But it's kind of refusing to budge other than pre-market. Intraday, it's refusing to kind of budge below this low candle here, which was around, 149.30. It seems like every time it gets below 149, it has a lot of energy to the upside. So looking at the VIX on the 1 year, it's having a hard time getting below one of my Fibonacci fans, or getting above one of my Fibonacci fans, but let's take a look at it. Yeah, it's a little bit weak still, but it's literally holding that closing level of the low candle before the big move to the upside that got rejected. And the low of that candle on the VIX is 26.97, basically 27. So every time it kind of gets near that area, or we could say the 45-day moving average that I've been using for everything lately instead of a 50, there's the 45. It seems to kind of bounce off that area with some energy. So keep an eye on the VIX during the day. It's kind of interesting to watch it. It's kind of refusing to go any lower at this level here. We'll leave it at that for now. No newsletter data this morning, just keeping it to videos for now. This market direction is really hard to discern, like I said, and I'm not a momentum trader, so at times I will do intraday trades on momentum plays, but for the most part, I'm more comfortable in a pullback environment, trying to figure out point to figure where to catch reversals, etc.